Good afternoon. You know, everyone had the real privilege of saying sort of where they're from and all the things that they've done and who got you here and all those kinds of things. And I don't want to be left out. For that. I'm a little selfish when it comes to those things. It's amazing. I don't want to be left out. You guys feasted on that opportunity. So I said, I'm a bit greedy, and I want to make certain that I'm on record with all those unbelievable people that's made it possible for me to be here. And I will say this, that Mr. Scotty Elliott, there aren't many words that really capture just what he means to me personally. And our relationship goes back more than a decade prior to this endeavor. And certainly coming on board when the axe was out there was an easy response for me. But then Scotty goes a bit further and he plugs me into folks like Scott Glanton. I can't say enough about Scott and Scotty, and my wife is always saying, "Am I talking to Scott or Scotty?" She just can't seem to get that correct, But bless her heart, I do want to recognize Benji Crooms in the room. In my first year in the call center, there wasn't a better mentor, someone that came along and taught me as much as one could learn the experience of the call center. And to see these guys are tremendous servants. They're not just incredible executives, but they're incredible servants. And Eric's in the room, and just I can go on and on with the people of One Life. Our owner and Mr. Ken Parker, there is no one quite like him. Yes, an incredibly successful individual earned it. No one gave it to him. He beat the streets. He beat on doors. He made his way up the hill. He walked through cold weather. He went through the sun. And you see the results of what real, absolute focus can give you and can do. And you've seen nothing yet, by the way. But he is an incredible individual. And I can go on and on about the people. I will say this. I'm very proud to be a part of an organization that's very intentional about a lot of things. And you've heard it resonate in this room this afternoon in many facets. And I just want to capture that even more intentionally, if I possibly can, and be quick with it. But I can tell you this, when it comes to faith and family and final expense, those are the three big F's in my life. I always said, I love those F's. And I always say, this is the only place where an F is really good. I want you to know that. Yes, indeed. We are F people. That's what we are. Absolutely. We don't want A's around here, pal. We want F's. That's what we want. So that's exciting. And we're so intentional about it. I've been in corporate America a 1,000 years, but what I do know is that there are a handful of organizations that truly are intentional about those areas, and particularly the faith-based area. And you know what it does? It gives me some flexibility to be able to stand here unapologetic and be able to, encourage you, not just professionally, but personally also. And in this new leadership role, that's going to be a part of my responsibility, as I've been charged with in encouraging, inspiring, and providing leadership principles, technique, team building assignments, and things of that nature to further enhance what is already a very powerful agent force that I'm very excited to be a part of. And so I wanted to start by saying that. And so what I want to do is get into just a short half-hour lecture on something that is very near and dear to my heart. I'm going to capture this in some very unique ways. Stay with me if you can. I go really fast, okay? I really do, and I get real excited and really passionate about it. And listen, if you can't get excited about what, if you can't get excited about what you get out of the bed every morning to go do, listen, it's incredible. Why wouldn't you be excited for the new challenges of the day, the new opportunities of the day, the new appointments you're going to make during the course of the day, the revenue you're going to generate for that day, and all the opportunities that come with the fact that it is your work, it is your career, and you know what? If you don't get excited about it, no one else will. Amen. How about that? No one else will. No one else will. No one else will. I believe this. I believe enthusiasm, excitement, and passion going to get you 2 victories. I believe that. I truly do. You want 2 additional apps? That'll get you 2 more. Right at the end of the day, that'll get you 2 more, man. I'm telling you right now, no doubt about it. Keep that in mind. I'm going to read for you and I'm tying this together, one of my favorite passages in the Bible. It makes sense. Be real patient with me. Watch this. In the book of Romans chapter 1, the Apostle Paul, he starts out with something and he's real excited. And what's amazing about it is that this is really the first 7 verses, no, 6 verses, verses 1 through 6. The very first 6 verses are really it's his enthusiasm and excitement, and it's his summation. It is not his introduction. You will never get that if you don't really dig into it and pull back the pages. But this is what he says, and what he's going to say after that in the next several chapters pales in comparison to what he says in 6 verses. And he's so fired up about it, it's ridiculous. And I can't even read it the way he reads it. Theologians say he reads it, it's meant to be read a certain way. You can't read it like a passive little rascal. You can't do it. You've got to bring something to it when you read it. But listen to this. This is how it reads. And this is his summation. I mean, this is his introduction. I mean, his summation, not his introduction. Listen to this. He said, Paul, a servant of Jesus Christ, called to be an apostle and separated unto the gospel of God, which he had promised before by his prophets in the Holy Scriptures concerning the Son, Jesus Christ our Lord, which was made of the seed of David according to the flesh, and declared to be the Son of God with power according to the Spirit of holiness by the resurrection from the dead, by whom we have received grace and apostleship for obedience to the faith among all nations, for his name among whom ye were also called by Jesus Christ. Then he turns and he says this, to all that are now in Rome. Oh, it's incredible. It's absolutely incredible. His enthusiasm and his excitement about this and the absolute summation of what he's about to tell you the rest of the way. And you know what? I got to thinking. I said, now what if I was reading that about one lifestyle? What would that sound like? Listen to this. I believe this. I want to go through it slowly first, and then I'm going to come back and speed it up. Okay, this is what I would say, because for me to sit here and tell you this, what I'm going to tell you in the next 20 minutes of my time that's left pales in comparison to what I'm going to read off to you in these first few little bit of edits, okay? Pales in comparison. Listen to this. Get this right here. And this is what gets me excited. That one life is the absolute best in the final expense business. An exemplary lead system, an owner of tremendous quality, support services that are second to none, core values that are enduring, an incentive program that is motivating, a career path that rewards performance, and an academy that rocks. And if I were to read it like this, I would go, one life, the absolute best in the final expensive business, an exemplary lead system, an owner of tremendous quality, 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 support services that are second to none, core values that are enduring, an incentive program that is motivating, a career path that rewards performance, and an academy that rocks. Yeah. Everything after that pales in comparison to those first few edits. Everything that Paul was going to say after that, man, that was just icing on the cake. If you weren't sold at that point, then you are cold as ice. You don't get it. And you know what? You don't know a good business deal when you hear one. You don't. And they say good business people have good business ears, and they know a deal when they hear one. They know opportunity when they see it, and they're ready to seize it, jump on top of it, and run with it. After I read those first 6 verses, nothing else, I didn't have to read anything else. I was completely done, absolutely done. Keep that in mind. Listen to this. Everything else I'm about to say to you in these last few moments truly does pale in comparison. Listen to this. There are a handful of professions, just a handful. And this is not an exhaustive list, by the way, but there are a handful of professions, or just a handful, that you must be driven to do. You must be driven to do them. You absolutely must have an internal drive to do them. It's not only an external drive, but there's an internal drive. And I'm going to tell you why, in order to do them. If you're not driven to do them, then you won't survive them. If you're not driven to do them, you won't survive them. Stay with this for a minute. The reason you have to be driven is because of what I call fight back. Fight back is an entity that comes with certain professions that if you're not driven to do them, you'll get driven away. Are y'all with that? You'll get driven out. You'll get driven up. You'll get pushed away. You'll get pushed out. You'll look for ways to find the exit. It'll be easy to identify it. Oh, I'm telling you, it will. And so if you don't decide on day one that you're in it for the long haul, listen, there are a handful of professions that if you aren't driven, they will drive you out. So you've got to be driven in certain professions. Let me highlight some of those for you. This is not an exhaustive list. There are a handful of them. And you could give me probably 10 more in addition to the ones that I'm going to read off to you. And then I'm going to expound on one just to further validate what my point is. And I'm going to get very personal with you. And I'm going to walk you into my own personal world, okay? Are you ready for it? Sir. Here it is. The reason you have to be driven is because of what is called fight back. Fight back, by the way, is this thing that is very difficult. It comes at you all the time. There's resistance there. There are challenges there. There are setbacks there. It's always pulling on you. And these particular professions have a lot of fight back in them. They deliver a blow at you is what they do. And they challenge you to get back up and stand up and keep pursuing that which you believe you were called to do. And you can't be convinced otherwise that you weren't brought here for a reason, that people thought of you, encouraged you, pitched it to you, and you decided that, hey, I'm going to be a part of it. I can do it. I'm built to do it. I'm made to do it. And that's why I'm here. But if you don't listen to this, get ready for fight back. Here it is. Get this. There's a lot of fight back in certain professions. I'm going to name a few. To become a doctor, you better have some fight back. Have you seen the curriculum? Becoming an attorney, I know a few. You think that passing the licensing exam is tough? Check out the ball. You better have some fight back. Aerospace engineers. I worked at Georgia Tech for 13 years. Whoa! A kid came in and gave us a speech, you know, on aerospace, and he's talking quantum physics and all of this. Whoa! And he started lecturing all of these things, and I'm just sitting there. I don't know why he keeps talking to me, because I'm nowhere on the planet with him. He can forget it, you know. There's no way I get that, you know. Unbelievable. He goes up to the board and puts this unbelievable formula up on the board. It takes up the whole board, and the answer was 1. God! You gotta be kidding me! And why did you just say that? Aerospace engineers, professional athletes, you better have some fight back. And the one that I most believe exemplifies all of us in the room, particularly going forward, those of us who are experiencing tremendous success, but in the business of sales, you better have some fight back. You better have some fight back in sales. And I could probably expound on 1,000 reasons why. Benji Crooms, tell me, Benji, give me one reason you better have some fight back in sales.
Tough.
Wow. Tough. Tough. Eric, give me one reason why you better have some fight back in sales.
We'll shut the door in your face and tell you to get off the property.
Wow. I got goosebumps just thinking about that. Unbelievable. David, can you give me one example of why you better have some fight back in sales?
They're going to fight you back.
Wow. They're going to fight you back. Oh my gosh. Incredible. Mr. Scott Glenn, will you give me one example of why you better have some fight back in sales?
They're going to say no to you all the time. No, no, no.
And lastly, but certainly not least, Mr. Scotty Elliott, why must we have fight back in this business?
It's going to be pertinent to be successful. You got to have it.
You got to have it. It's pertinent to being successful. You can't be successful if you don't include it.
Yeah.
You have to have fight back. or you'll never be successful. You'll never sustain it. Because tomorrow's different than yesterday. And a week later is different than a week before. And the fight back is going to come constantly, continuously, and you better have some fight back to combat it. There are some professions, and then there's a list of professions that's more exhaustive and more extensive than this. And as I've said, I've just named a handful. And there are special breeds of people that actually embark upon these kinds of endeavors. Am I right, Mr. Ken?
That's right.
There's a special breed of people that do it, and everyone can't do it. That's why I love this group of people. And you've made an incredible career endeavor or choice to be a part of something that it requires a lot of internal drive to be successful over a long period of time, and to build your portfolio in such a way that it's recognized throughout the business. It takes a special breed of individuals to do it. Everyone can't do it. Listen, there are some careers that it requires no fight back. I'm not here to name those careers. But I'll just say it, you know, hey man, it doesn't require anything to do that. You don't need any special knowledge base. You don't need any special skill set. You don't need to be motivated. You don't need any type of, you can just get your tail up out of the bed and go do that. I told my son, you don't need any, listen, you don't need any special skills to cut the lawn. Oh, let me just break this down to you. No! Follow the line and cut the dadgum lawn. You don't need to go to the academy to do that. But if you want to be successful in final expense, I'm glad you're at the academy. Because the academy is just one part of helping you short-term, long-term, and forever be successful in the final expense business. And that's exciting. I want to close by, in these last 12 minutes or so, and give you my fight back in my story. Indulge me for just 10 minutes, all I have left really, 10, 12 minutes. I'm going to try my best to just capture it and just run through it. If you can keep up, good luck. But there are a handful of professions that you had better have fight back. And you better not be cowardly. And you better be courageous. But you better be strategic. You know, you better be strategic. You better be a creative thinker. Okay? You better have some resolve. You got to know how to recover. Because you're going to fall down a little bit sometimes. Some days it's going to be rough. But you have to know that what I'm doing, a handful of people are doing. And are successful at it. I was on the phone just the other day. Scott, would you give me just an edit of our conversation with one of our field agents in KT, Tyler, just what his numbers look like as a result of one previous week that he's just had. Can you give me just an edit of just his excitement, but his results also that we were on our conference call just the other day, just absolutely amazing to me. Give me just a few edits of what his experiences have been.
He went to Cambridge, New Jersey. I believe that's right. Cameron. Somewhere in New Jersey. He pulled 100 leads. He worked 5 days. He was exhausted, about 10 appointments a day. And he wrote right at $13,000 worth of annualized premium.
Wow.
Camden.
Wow. Rough up there, huh? Rough there. Kid knows. Kid knows. Wow. How about that? And you know, we could probably have edits of stories, of success stories, of guys who really push it hard. Scott mentioned the word, and he identified certain agents when we were doing the introduction that are really hard workers and really know what it means to be able to embrace fight back. And I commend those agents that he absolutely identified, and I'm certain that's the entire room. But my story, I graduated high school, and I had the audacity to decide that I wanted to play professional sports. What was I thinking? Oh, I've got the bumps and bruises to prove it, brother. I got a bad right knee, and I'll switch with any of you. I'm going to tell you that right now. It's bad. I've got to get surgery, by the way, this summer, Scott. I've got to get it. It's just got to happen. I'm telling you right now, it's awful is what it is, but I'm going to do it. But you know what? I graduated high school. I had one scholarship, and that was to a local college called Albany State College in Albany, Georgia. I went there one semester. I didn't like it. Decided that I wanted to pursue another way in which to get to where I was attempting to go. Left there, didn't return the second semester, and I decided to go to Georgia Southern. Drove to Georgia Southern. If you ever heard of Georgia Southern University, there's an old famous coach named Irk Russell. That old bald head guy used to be the defensive coordinator for the University of Georgia. Legend. Benji Crooms could tell you all about him. Legend in those parts. He's since passed on, but it's amazing. I had the audacity didn't know any better, Scott. I had a coach drive me to Georgia Southern, and I just wanted to go to Georgia Southern. Didn't know anything about transcripts. Didn't know nothing about none of the processes and protocols and procedures. And I get to the campus, and I go knock on Irk Russell's door. He happens to be in the room. He's a legend. When you see him, you think you saw God. And he was so kind. He asked me to come raise. He said, "Son, where are you from?" So I talked. And I shared with him where I was from. And he said, "Son, you know, this process really don't work like that." Turns out, he says, "But I'll tell you what I'm going to do." I'll never forget her name. Susan was his administrative assistant. "Susan, come here, Susan. Susan, I want you to take this boy." "I want you to take this boy and put him up in that dorm. He need a place to sleep tonight. And we'll finish talking with him in the morning." Susan got me all papered up good. I go into the dorm, didn't have anything to sleep on. I slept on just an old darn bed. You know, there was nothing on it, no mattress, no anything. But sure enough, I go there next morning. Coach Russell encouraged me and told me what I needed to go do. I went back home to Albany, and you know what I did? I left for scholarship now, but I enrolled at a Darden Junior College. I didn't play any football, Scott. They didn't have a football program. All I did was go to school. I knew I needed to be in school because I didn't need to be on the streets. Because there wasn't anything good out there at all. And I recognized that. And I went to this Darden Community College, and all I did was just go to school. And was there for a year and a half. Turns out I found out they had a flag football team. Yay! Oh, that's me! Sign me up! Oh man, and this was in the second year at the junior college. I didn't play the first year, darn it, I missed it. No, but the second year, I decided I'd play. But every day I would get on a bus, and I would ride the bus, get off the bus, and go walk to a place called Tony's Gym, lift weights and work out, lift weights and work out. And by the time I left that Georgia Southern experience, after the first year at the Darden Community College, I went from 205 pounds to 230 pounds. And it was amazing because I would leave that Darden Community College, go work out, and then there were days like on Saturdays, I would get up and I would walk from my home. The gym was 4 hours from my home. I mean, 4 miles. 4 hours. 4 miles from my home. It really was a fight back. But anyway, I walked those 4 hours. And there I go. I would get to the gym. And there were days, Scotty and Scott, where I would have to skip from porch to porch. The rain would come on me. And I would walk. And I would stand under people's porches. Just enough cover so I can get to the gym. I would get to the gym. And the people in the community start noticing my growth. That, man, you're getting bigger and bigger. And I kept lifting and running, and I kept studying. And I had no idea about where I was going to go to school if I was going to go. And so I got on the flag football team, and I was out there running around, and a coach from Troy University saw me. Came up to me and approached me and told me about an opportunity to come to Troy. He came up to me and he told me about their walk-on program, and I said, yes, yeah, I'll go. Absolutely. I finished at the junior college, went to Troy, and when I got there, they tested me in the 40. I was 230 pounds, Scott. They clocked me at a 429.
That's running through the rain.
Oh yeah, buddy. That's what running through the rain will do for you. I guarantee it, buddy. You bet you it will. And you know what happened? It turns out they were so amazed, they did two things. They grabbed the tape measure and stretched it out just to be sure. There's no way that's accurate. Sure enough, they lined me up again, but before they did, they went to the track team and got the 100-meter champion. Brought him to the track. He warmed up, and they put him in the 40 with me to push me. See what we can do. We jump out the gate. He's a 160-pound little rat. That's what he was. That's all he was. You know, I looked at him. I wanted to just slap him. You know, that's what I wanted to do. You know, and we got in that stance, and we took off. Man, look at here. What are you talking about? I hit that tape and beat him, and it hit at 427 or 426, somewhere in there. And after that, they say that's legit. That's legit. Absolutely. Turns out I would be at Troy for 2 years. Turns out an NCAA rule when I was at the junior college, it caught up with me, Scotty, and I had too many semesters. I couldn't continue my career there, so I had to leave there and couldn't come back after the fall semester. I'd become an All-American, but if I returned to Troy, I would lose my final year of eligibility. So I stayed at home, and in an amazing turn of events, I went all the way out to Arkansas. And I went out there with the idea that this rule that applied at Troy wouldn't apply in an NAIA program in Arkansas. Turns out, the rule that was hopeful for me to play, it didn't pass. I lived with the family out there for 9 months. And all I was doing was serving the community, working hard in the community. I was working, guess where I worked? I worked at an old assembly line where they built vending machines. And I had an old 10-speed bike early in the morning. I get on and I pedal it all the way there. Steve Shadrack, one of my mentors to this day, he was an unbelievable, still is to this day. I remember one day in Arkansas, it was freezing cold, and he got up before he took off to go to work, and I looked out up there, and there were a pair of gloves and a big old coat sitting on the bike. It makes me get emotional to this day. I put the coat on, put the gloves on, got on the bike, rolled my way down to the job. Every single day I would do that. Every single day I would do on the assembly line, doing those things. Turns out the rule didn't pass. And I couldn't stay at Central Arkansas. Now I've got to go to Northeastern State University. Holy cow, what am I doing? Is my eligibility going to run out? And I go to Northeastern State University. Turns out it was my final stop. I became an All-American in that 1 year. I had 1 year to put it all together for the pros. If I were going to get to the NFL, I couldn't get injured. I had to compete against a running back that just ran for 900 yards in his previous season. I did. The team was loaded. And I walked in and didn't know a soul. But here's what I had. You know what I had? I was driven. And I got a chance to compete, won the starting job by the second week of the season, ran for 1,900 yards. 1,900 yards, became an All-American there, was selected to play in those 2 All-Star games that Mr. Scotty just mentioned a moment ago. And I would go on to find myself in the National Football League draft. And that's just my college career. And I get to the NFL, and I'm thinking that I was going to get drafted early. I got drafted later and got bumped back. And actually, the assets that I thought I was going to get on the draft day didn't come my way. And so it wasn't going to be until 2 years later that I would have an opportunity to earn that back. And then I had injury after injury. And I had setback after setback. But what was amazing, if I was going to get to that level and be successful at it, it was going to take some internal drive. And it was going to happen against some of the greatest odds you can possibly imagine. Do you realize how many mind games I played with myself? You know, the easiest thing to do, Derrick Moore, is to go home. Go to the Army. Commendable. Love to serve our country. Go get a job somewhere and just work. But no, I want to play professional sports. And I came to tell you all this afternoon, dadgummit, I was going to do it. And I'll say this to you this afternoon. If you want to sell insurance, dadgummit, do it. I'm going to tell you that right now. Dadgummit, go do it like you've never done it before in your entire life. Because every day you get up in the morning, are you enjoying what you're doing? Do you see the results of what you're doing? Do you understand the investment that you're making? And do you realize the opportunity? And one of the other things is that what it does on behalf of families, when you insure them, when they get insured, when they grab hold of this product, what it's done for that particular family in servicing a tremendous need that they would have, and you communicating that and providing the process that at the end they've got this insurance that they need for these most critical time, for the most critical time of their lives. It's not just something we do by happenstance, but it also serves an incredible purpose. It really does. And I can tell you today, fight back will come, but you've got to outdrive fight back. And if you are as driven as I know I was then, and in these very particular careers, particularly in sales, I will assure you, the numbers that Mr. Scott just mentioned, the numbers you've heard thrown around the room, and some of you are experiencing that right now. There's no doubt about it. That's out there for all of us. But I want you to know what you're embarking upon, what you're into. It is an unbelievable business. It is an unbelievable industry. It is an unbelievable opportunity. And I want to tell you right now, you're driven to do it. You are absolutely driven to do it. And I'll say this, if there's anyone in the room that doubts that, that's lacking a little bit of self-confidence, that's not quite sure if the deal's done, what you got to do is go pull the One Life record and take a look at some of the most incredible, most exemplary agents in this entire industry. And guess what? I just shared my story. There are stories that far outperform mine. That's right here in this company. As you can see my passion, I get excited. I tell people all the time I'm sweating a spitter. That's what I tell them, I'm sweating a spitter. But I really believe that's the type of drive we need to be successful, not only short term, not just for 1 week, not just for 1 month, but that's the kind of drive you need to be successful for a career. Hey, wish you the very best, and I am looking so forward to meeting you, getting to know you, dialoguing with you on the phone, coming to your town, hearing about your reports, understanding who you're working with. I am so excited about that opportunity that this company has provided me. So I look forward to helping drive you to where you need to be and ultimately where the company wants all of us to be. Thank you very much.